The lecture is going to start, so please be a bit silent, and then I can give the word to the people from Broekbakema.
Thanks. Can you all hear me well? Yes? Hi, welcome. I'm very glad to be back here actually. Once I was a student here, just like you. So I'm really excited to be giving this lunch lecture today. Today I'm going to talk to you about our office, Broekbakema. We are a Rotterdam-based office. And we call ourselves, our motto is, we are the community builders. Because that's what we like to do. We like to build communities. We like to contribute to that, to the communities in our buildings, and make sure that there is enough locations to have social interaction. And we've been doing that for quite a while. Our office is existing since 1910. And this building that you see here is the vanilla factory in Rotterdam. And it's our first project. So if you look in our archives, project number 1 is the vanilla factory, which is, of course, today still there, and it's a UNESCO World Heritage. It's a very exciting building, and our office is actually based now in this building, and we are still the coordinative architect for all the transformations that are happening inside. Broekbakema, yeah, we like co-creation. We like to work together with our clients to create the building. And what we aim to do is to make great places to work. And by that we especially mean healthy environments for people who work there or live there. And we've been doing that for a variety of clients. So if you come work at us, you can work for a big company, or it can be a monumental zoo like with the Blijdorp in Rotterdam, or schools, or all kinds of clients. But our main fields of work are these 4 fields of work: transformation of old buildings, also buildings from our own oeuvre, research and development buildings. We have done a lot of laboratories, clean rooms, production facilities, etc. Offices is one of our main things, and education as well. My name is Ruud van Ginneke. I am project architect at Broekbakema. In total I've been working like about 12 years. Before that I was a student here in bouwkunde and architecture here as well. Yeah, I've been working at Broekbakema for about 5 years, and also at some other offices. Also today with me is Lineke. Lineke is assistant designer at Broekbakema, and has been an intern before that as well. And so yeah, if after today's lecture you want to know more about internships or how it is to work at Broekbakema, you can ask Lineke or you can ask me. Yeah, just a little flashback that I had myself when I was invited to give this lecture here. As I said, I studied here as well. I was also in the board of GEOPS, at the 20th board, so that's like 16 years ago. Wow, quite some years. I feel very old now when I'm looking at you. But yeah, it was a great time. And also during that year, we were able to realize 2 big projects. There were actually design contests for students that we organized from GEOPS. And we realized that in my year it was the concrete sculpture outside, and the green, actually the new home of GEOPS. Well, I call it new, but now it's new, not new anymore, of course. So we made the green furniture with our commission as well. That's really nice to do. So yeah, good vibes coming back here. But now I'd like to go a little bit into the content of the presentation. I want to tell you a little bit first about our vision on sustainable, future-proof, future-oriented design, and then go into some projects. Yeah, I imagine you all have heard about circular design. It's the topic that you should be busy with here in the faculty, and I imagine you are all busy with it. This is The definition of circular design, as it is formulated by the Dutch Green Building Council, but it's a bit long. I won't read it out loud. If you summarize it, I think what we try to do is to build an environment with buildings that contribute to the well-being of people in the building, and also, of course, to the world, to the biosphere. And we like to design healthy buildings that make people happy and make them perform better. Yeah, simple as that. That's also how we try to, because you need to find your clients ready to invest in that as well. So it's not only about making nice spaces, it's also about making the people there perform better. It's how we sell it. Circular strategies. I don't know if when I show you this, you all think, oh, we've seen this 1,000 times or not. But the 10R strategy, it's a standard diagram of strategies for circular design. And the higher you come up in this diagram, the better the strategy is. And for me, it's a very good schedule for circular design. It's also used for product design, but you can also implement it for buildings. And the idea is that with these strategies, you can always bring the materials back into the cycle of the biosphere or technical sphere. And if I were to summarize circular design strategy, I would say the first step, the first thing you want to do is actually not build anything. If it's possible to reuse your building, do it. To reuse your building or parts of your building, you maintain your value, and that's the best way. If you need to add some value, then do it in an adaptive and flexible way. Make sure your building is so it's more future-proof and more ready for future changes. Make sure you make your building demountable. This also helps to make it future-proof. On the right, you see the. I could barely see it, but it's a diagram of the layers of brand, which show the different layers in a building and the different lifespans they have. So, for instance, the interior you need to replace more often than your structure. So it's good to have everything disconnected in your building, so that it's easily dismountable. That's very important. Well, circular materials I just talked about, and I'd like to add as well, what I like to do is to aesthetically strive towards timeless architecture. And I think that helps also in sustainability. If you make a building that's easily going to be seen as dated, then yeah, it's not sustainable, of course. And I think it's done with powerful concepts and subtle shape language. No. Now I want to dive into some projects. I want to briefly talk about two big projects that we have done or are busy with. And they are a bit showcase projects in terms of sustainable design. It's the Energy Academy in Groningen and the ABN AMRO Bank in Amsterdam. One is more a showcase for energy and the other for materials. I have not worked myself on these two projects, but I think I don't want to keep it from you. I want to show it briefly. And then I want to dive a little bit deeper into the three projects I've worked on myself. That's the Sinton office in Nijmegen, the KVL leather factory in Oosterwijk, and DSM headquarters in Maastricht. Let's first go to the Energy Academy. This building is done for the University of Groningen. It's a very, I think, progressive building. It's really interesting, and especially because of energy management in this building. So all the natural resources available have been used optimally here. Daylight, the earth is used, the air is used. And good examples are, of course, the roof that you see here. You see the solar panels, and they are tilted up. In this way, the roof is used optimally for, of course, energy, but also to still bring daylight in through the panels. That's a good example. And another nice example is that there's a labyrinth underneath the building. So there's like a corridor, and the incoming air for the building travels through this corridor, and there it uses the soil, the temperature of the soil, to already in the winter preheat a little bit the air, and in the summer cool it off. And it's actually something, I don't have a picture of it, but you can walk through, and it's really cool, literally, that they done it here. So this building, yeah, I think to me it's a showcase for energy. It's ultimately shaped for energy as well. And yeah, it's the idea of the building is that there is not so much installations used, and the natural energy is used. And I think that's really interesting. If you want to see more about the project, you can always visit our website. This is a project that we are working on right now. This is the ABN AMRO Bank in Amsterdam. It's a really big building, gigantic. I think it's almost 100,000 square meters. It's an existing building that we are transforming. So there's a lot of reuse here, and the parts that we add all bio-based. So you see, yeah, I have no pointer, but the white blocks are existing, and the new blocks are all made in wood. You see the images here. So the entire structure will also be all in wood. So this client was also very eager to make a really sustainable building, and a bank, yeah, they have enough money to do it well as well. So it's a really cool project, and be sure to follow it from our socials. Now I want to dive into my own projects that I worked on as project architect. The first one is actually the image you already saw in the beginning. Fasttrack Offices Sinton for Beyondis in Nijmegen. Beyondis is a company that is biopharmaceutical. They develop medicines. They do research towards cancer. And we've been doing their master plan, urban master plan, like a decade ago. And step by step, they are evolving and growing and expanding. And it's really cool. At the beginning, this area was really like a standard industrial Dutch site. And they had car dealers, and it was really dodgy and not so nice. And step by step, we are making it more and more towards a green campus. And they have bought more and more land. And yeah, it's actually become a really nice environment. And now I'm focusing on the building on the left with the red line around it, which is a new office building. And this is the concept of the building. So we said, well, let's make an optimal office block with the right width, that you can have your offices optimally in with daylight, and you still have a good zone in the center for your other functions, supporting functions. And then we cut out the atrium as a central space where you get to meet each other and have your coffee and etc. We did that in like a terraced way, because then you get a nice overview and it looks really cool. Of course, then you make some connections in the building, and also we put the shell around it with the vertical alignment, so it becomes a unity, and it's kind of iconic. And of course, we made some vertical fins, so we have shading on the building. If you look at the floor plans, it stands out immediately that how higher you get, the bigger the void in the center is. Of course, that's to do with the terraced void. If you look at a section, this is from the sketch phase. Then you see the atrium cut out really well. This client just wanted office rooms, all rooms. They didn't want an open office with activity-based working. They were a bit more conservative in that, but we made it in a way, of course, that you can always change the office layout very easily. So that's still possible in the future. This is an impression from the design phase, really quick and dirty done. We had a few weeks for the sketch design, but it's funny to see how it turns out in the end. Also in the sketch design, we did propose, can we make the whole building in a wooden structure, so it's bio-based, and we really believe in that. But then there's always the alternative of making it in steel and concrete. And the basic idea that is that the left one is cheaper. But we did visualize it for our client. We try to say, well, it's interesting. Go for wood, and that if we go for wood, we can do. We can make less ceiling because wood is also a material that you can just show. And that way, we even could calculate that it was almost the same costs, but still the client wanted the high-tech look of the left image. So we're not able to make a wooden structure, unfortunately. But nonetheless, it still became a very nice building. Then we said, let's do a lot of wood in the atrium then. So that's what we did. For the facade concept, like I said, we have vertical fins, and we have a facade for the offices, which has some vertical closed elements, and the atrium is glazed. So in this way, the atrium stands out in a subtle way. This is a detailed drawing of the facade. I think what's nice about this is that it's a demountable facade. And you can see also the fins. That is just within the building structure of the curtain wall facade. And it's really a modular facade, really flexible. Every 1.8 meter you can in the future make a new wall towards this facade. And we did the openable parts in the closed part of the facade, like you see here. So this really makes a very clean look if you look at the building now. So this is how it looks. And what I also like about the vertical fins is that if you walk around the building, in one standing point, you'll see a very close facade, like for instance here on the right side, you see it, very closed. And on the left side, you see a more open facade. You see the glazing. And that from every standing point around the building is a different look, and it's really nice, I think, dynamic. And this is around the entrance. So this is how it looks here. You see the shape of the atrium in the glazing. And when you enter, you really get the feeling of a high atrium, heart of the building where you can meet. On every floor here, there's also the pantry is situated here. So you are kind of forced, if you want to get your coffee, to go here and you meet other people. Some research has been done that the places where most meetings take place in offices is always at the coffee machine. So it's really important to design a good place for your coffee machine. Now on to the next project, the KVL building in Oosterwijk. This is a building you can visit if you want. It's really it's just been delivered. It's just been finished, and it's a multifunctional building that consists also of an existing part and a new part. So it's a transformation, and it has all kinds of functions in it. The existing situation was actually really interesting. Oosterwijk is a small town near Tilburg, and but it has a big industrial site from the early 20th century, which is the leather factory. It was the biggest leather factory in Europe. And all these old cool buildings have been remained and maintained, and a lot of them have already gotten a new function. The only building that did not get a new function was the U building in the center. So it's the big building in the center. And this was bought by a Turkish client, and Turkish investor, and they approached us as a Dutch architect to make the design for it. And this is kind of the concept of the building. So here we have the existing building. You can see why it's called the U building, because it has a U shape. And then one of the branches, the idea of the Turkish investor was to demolish one of the branches of the U, marked in red here, and place there the new hotel building. So this is actually the concept. You see that the new hotel building is in place. The courtyard in the center gets a new roof. And in the existing building, it consists of horeca, food courts, restaurants, and then office spaces in 2 layers above, and the top layer has apartments. And actually also a new top layer on top of the we now call L building. Then underneath the atrium and the hotel building is also a new parking garage that was being made. So a really multifunctional, interesting concept that we got from this client. Here you see it in a section. So cross section. In the middle you see the atrium. On the right you see the hotel, which has the restaurant on the ground floor. And on the left you see the existing building with the food court companies and the apartments in the top. The building that we demolished, it looked like this. It was actually the oldest part of the building, but it was really structurally very dangerous and not good anymore. So it made sense to actually demolish it. And then for actually the Turkish, I don't have an image of it, but the Turkish client also made a sketch design, and then they placed a building that looked like literally like a book with pages in it, and it was really very literal. And we kind of made it more architecture. We decided to make the book pages more fins, and shape the fins towards so it fits in well in the urban context. So we gave the top layers a setback, and we gave the ground floor like a plinth with the wider fins. And this is how it looks now. So actually the light beacon that we placed on top of the tower was not allowed. We could not make that because that part was monumental. All the other parts were burned. And we just recently visited the building and really happy with it. Also, what we tried to do here a little bit was do some storytelling about the history of the site, the leather factory. Here you see ancient, old pictures of the process in the factory, of all the steps they did, and we did use those images, made a perforation pattern for it, and abstractly show it in the ground floor fins with a perforation of the fins. It's really not very literal, but if you know it, you see it. A more literal reference that we did was that we used leather, actual leather, in the inner facade of the hotel. So this is the atrium, and you're looking at the hotel on the opposite side. And for this facade, we used cushions with the leather around it, and the leather is perforated, so it's also acoustically absorbing the sound in the atrium, which works really well. You see another image of it, and on the left side you see the existing building, and where the existing building is cut off, and we decided to really just make it glazed there, so you see right into the old structure. And in between there's a slope going down to the basement. Atrium roof. I forgot. It's really expressive roof. All the glazing is simple rectangular glazing, but due to the triangles, it becomes more expressive, and it combines all the functions in the heart. And the existing building, we transformed it as well, and all the new bigger elements we added was all in black steel, so it kind of becomes one shape language. And the monumental windows that we replaced, we made it more sustainable with new glazing. That's still done in white, like the rest of the KVL buildings. And the apartments are also really cool. So the top layer of the existing building is where you enter your apartment, and where you have your bedrooms. And if you go one layer higher, then there's a new layer with only your kitchen and living room, and you have, of course, your roof garden with a brilliant view of the surroundings. Like I said, we recently were there. It's always good to, like we said, we call ourselves community builders. We try to make buildings that are contributing to making more social gatherings. but we do that, of course, within our office as well. So if you finish your project, of course, you need to go there. And in this case, we could even have a dinner there, and yeah, really enjoy ourselves. In terms of sustainability of this project, yeah, of course, it's the reuse and the update of the existing building. I think it's also good to have this cultural connection and storytelling. And I think we added a new layer as well to the existing building, creating timeless architecture. I'm gonna look at my, I think I have some time. Final project that I want to dive into is DSM headquarters in Maastricht. This is not realized yet. At this point, the design is finished, and the existing parts of the existing building are demolished, and the build has started last week. Last week, the first brick was placed, and DSM is a multinational in the Netherlands, and they are moving to Maastricht, to the city center, and this building we designed for them. It's a combination of an existing state monument on the right, which is the former technical school, and a new building on the left, combined together to a new ensemble, and it's placed also on the existing parking garage of the cinema. Here you see more images of the existing building. It's from the early 20th century, 1911, I see. And over the years, buildings have been placed behind it and demolished again and placed behind it. In the end, it was a cinema, and the cinema is now demolished for DSM headquarters. But we also reuse the parking garage of the cinema. If you could look at the urban situation, we experienced in the surroundings that it really has city blocks, and we wanted our building also to be in somewhat the same scale, and to create one unity of it, one ensemble. So even though we have functions really separated, office and atrium in the center, for the way you experience the building from the outside, we want to see it as one unison. And then we, of course, you can see that in the schedule on the right, in the right underneath. We want to do some things to make a differentiation. So we cut out on the back side a green garden out of the volume, and on the more urban side, let's say, on the front, we make a nice staircase on the outside, and on the street side we also cut out a few patios to make the urban block a bit more gentle. This is how it looks from the top as a render. What you don't see in the render is that this whole building is going to be covered as well in solar panels, because it's going to be very, it has high labels of BREEAM and WELL and Paris Proof. So there's going to be a lot of solar energy that's going to be used here. And you see the atrium in the center, the office, new office to the left, and the existing building to the right. The facade, again, and it's a bit of a theme today, I guess, the vertical fins. In this case, the idea of the vertical fins came from the existing building, where you see it also a little bit in the windows. That there's some natuursteen. How do you say that? Limestone. No, it's mergel. It's a local Limburg stone that's used there. So we kind of refer to that with our new facade. And the new facade fins are made with microbeton, which is like a concrete shell, and it has a filling of foam. So it's lightweight, but it still has the stone feel to it, and it is actually concrete. The color is also matched with the stone in the existing facade, and the horizontal lines are also matched with the horizontal lines in the existing facade. In this way, we kind of connect both in a very, I think, nice way. Here you see also the access to the atrium, and there's also a roof garden on top of that. If you can go around the building, this is the main entrance that you see here. And here you see the two different facades. To the right you see the atrium facade, and to the left the office facade. And the office here has a setback. So the top layer is moved a little bit to the back. And here you see the street side with also the patios. Yeah, and this is actually more the back side where we have the bike entrance. And on this back side is yeah, more of a residential side, so across it. So here it was really good to make this green garden for the office. And here's also the parking garage entrance. If you go enter the building as a pedestrian, this is the first thing you see, and I think it really shows nicely the story of the whole building. You see in one image. You see on the right, you see the existing building. On the left, you see the new building, and in the center, the atrium, connecting everything. It also has the company restaurant in the atrium. Yeah, and in the existing building, we took out a lot of elements that were not monumental. For instance, on the right side here, there's now a lot of lowered ceilings. Look very ugly. We take them out, and there's all these brickwork, gewelven. I don't know the English word, but it's really nice to show it again and experience the full height of the monument, as it was before when it was a technical school. Yeah. So again, a reuse of a monument, and also an upgrade of the monument. We did insulate it. We did improve it to the current standards. This building is, like I said, very high ambitious for BREEAM and WELL. WELL is actually a label for healthy, to make healthy buildings, and BREEAM is to make sustainable buildings. And Paris Proof is about energy, to make an energy neutral building. So yeah, to sum everything a bit up, what we do as Broekbakema, we work in every scale from master plan to interior design. We try to make buildings that are alluring by simplicity, so they look simple and they are appealing. We want to make the building light, we bring daylight in, we make them spacious so you experience a healthy building. We make green a lot in our buildings, like you have seen. So we want to make buildings that are healthy for communities and sustainable for the world. This is a recent picture from our excursion. So this is about how big our office is now, and we are always looking for new people. So if you're interested in doing an internship or in the end to work at us, yeah, follow us and also let us know if you're interested. Yeah, that's it. That was my presentation. Thanks. Are there any questions? Don't hesitate. No questions at all? Okay. I'm wondering how many people here are interested in becoming an architect? Could you show some hands? Yeah, quite a lot. Okay, okay. Yeah. All right, all right. Yeah, I don't have to convince you that it's a very nice profession then. That's already clear. Okay, thanks.
Oh, thank you for giving us this wonderful lunch lecture. Because of this, I want to give you this, but my hands are full, so if you want to take it. Yes, and at the top of the stairs, you can get my future points if you want. Go by the scanners. And thank you for coming.